look over barriers, then we're not doing the proper job that we're supposed to be doing, because we're supposed to be finding people to run and serve and to better our community. And I bring that up because I think in the city of New London, people are starting to realize, at least with me, and I only speak for myself at this point, that it's not about this project or that way you live here or wherever it is. It's about your mindset. Now I can go over and sit in Crystal Avenue down in the courtyard and sit there and have a great time for the rest of the day. Some people can't, but I can. I can reach over barriers and get to people and let them know that we do care. Our National Republican National Chairman, who is from Michigan, has recently come out in the Wall Street Journal and stated that Republicans need to do a better job of getting into our minority communities. Well, lo and behold, someone's finally listening to what I've said. And I saw him back in January in New Haven, and he had invited me to the national meeting because he was interested in what I wanted, and he's come out with policy now for the National Republican Party to start opening up our doors, start being inclusive. Because you know what, Marty, in today's society, in the minority communities, Latino or Black community, you know what, we Republicans represent more than what people really think about.
But you have to reach out to people.
You have to be willing to reach over that table.
And you also have to be willing to listen.
That's right. And
I always find I learn more when I listen.
And that's the important part. In the Latino community, they are so conservative and religious. They belong with us. Same with the Black community. I mean, my daughter just purchased me the Lincoln movie. And I've now watched that movie, I think, 10 times. And every time I watch it, I get another piece of information. Now, yes, it's fictional, but it's based upon fact. And if you look at it, there's one party that has truly represented the minorities of this country, and has been the Republican Party. And we're the ones that always get the bad label, if you will say, oh, we're conservative, we don't care about people. We have cared. We're the ones that have opened up, given the Blacks their freedom, brought up the Blacks' vote, women votes. These things Democrats have, in the past, not supported. And people fail to realize that. So it's getting off base a little bit, but it's important.
Well, it's important, but I'd like to just add, and then we'll move on. But I think it's important to recognize it's up to us as a party.
That's right.
To bring that message to the people. We can't expect folks to just assume.
Right. You're right. Absolutely.
We as a Republican Party have a responsibility to talk and listen to all constituencies, and we really can't afford to write anybody off.
That's in this city. We can't do that. We can't afford that.
I think at any level. I think it's been indicative at the local, state, and national levels.
I've spent my career listening to people, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So.
Okay. By the way, are you going to run for council? Are you on that as the chair of the nominating committee? Are you a leading candidate for office? Or are you,
I'm leaving the door open as we speak at this moment. I think we have some great opportunities this year. Like I said, don't be surprised what the Republicans may pull as maybe some cross-endorsing. There's a lot of options open this year. The Board of Education's even a more crucial vote this year too, because of all the stuff going on with the Board of Education and the magnet system and bringing kids into the school system. And there's a lot of ifs and quite misconceptions being thrown out there to parents right now, and I've been having open discussions with some parents about some of our magnet schools now and how they're being told transportation is going to become an issue, but there are other factors concerning that have to be addressed with the administration, and I'm not sure we may go directly to the administration. We may go to the subordinate administration, which is the master. So
well, right now the special master certainly is running the show. Dr. Adamowski, the school board, I feel they've become intimidated to a degree, timid, because the special master has extraordinary dictatorial powers, and he has the authority to, he can remove a board member or, or the entire board.
That, I think, would be an obstruction of justice.
Well, he has the capacity to open up union contracts. He could terminate or separate the superintendent of schools.
That would be a good decision.
Well, he's got, like I say, he's got exceptional powers.
Right.
And this whole program of the magnet school district, which was initiated recently by the special master, the primary consideration is a big wad of cash. I mean, to the tune of about $9 million, which is derived with a $3,000 per student, and then based with 3,000 students in the system. So 3,000 times 3,000 translates into $9 million. Now, I have asked the question of the superintendent, not of Dr. Adamowski, if this is a ongoing in perpetuity $9 million, or is this going to be one and done, or maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, are they going to pull the rug out? He meaning Dr. Fisher, has assured me that that this pipeline of cash will be forever. But the state has been known to giveth as well as taketh away.
The reason why that pipeline has become official is because there was special legislation passed by our current state senator, and she pushed it through the Senate and up to the governor. Mm-hmm. We are the first municipality in the state of Connecticut when it comes to funding. We receive our funding first out of all 168 other towns because of this special legislation, because of the magnet school system. I found that out, a little known fact, at a Board of Education meeting, and I don't know if it was meant to be released like this, but Mr. Adamowski was very willing to be and divulge the information, and I accepted it.
Was this in a public session? Or was
yes, it was. And I found it very interesting that Mrs. Stillman would provide special legislation just for one municipality and not the entire state of Connecticut. Now, yes, that's her job. However, when you have to consider other people, and it's not just New London, it's 7 other towns in the 20th district and 169 other towns in the state of Connecticut. Were we done justice, or is this going to be continued funding, like you said, or is it at one point going to get shut off?
Yeah, but legislation can be changed as well. I mean, this is
well, the same thing with the bus transportation, because the bus transportation for these magnet schools are supposed to be covered by the state. And now we're being told that, these people that have been guaranteed bus transportation, be part of the magnet system, coming into New London, attending our schools, are provided bus transportation. Now they're saying we're not going to do this. Well, that means we have to pay back $10 million to the state of Connecticut. Where are we going to get that money? We don't have it.
No.
Clearly, we don't have it.
Now, one thing I wanted to mention as well is that in regarding this magnet school district, is in discussions I've had with the superintendent, is that I think the most critical need and issue with our schools is academic performance, student achievement, the achievement gap, as it's been coined.
Yes.
And what are we doing to address that? And regarding this magnet school district, student achievement was not listed high on his list of priorities for this cash windfall. I found that to be a bit disturbing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And there are issues in these schools right now. I get along with almost everyone, but I'm finding out little bits of information from different schools when I listen to the parents, how they're getting, some of the teachers are not fulfilling their obligations to what was discussed previously or whatever. And I'm questioning the administration now as to why all this is happening, because they are creating this gap. One student can be doing, something over in one corner, but the other student's just sitting there on a chair not doing anything. Where's this stuff coming from, first of all? Because I don't believe that we teach the same subject in each school the way we should be. And I think that's a curriculum problem, but I think it's a problem. Because one kid may be getting something at Winthrop School. Well, what's happening down at Harbor School right now? What's happening over at Jennings School? Is the same curriculum being dealt with in the same manners? No one can answer that for me.
That's very, very important, especially when we
It's
have a
huge.
relatively transient population within the city.
We have a huge if people were to, and Winthrop School is suffering because of that right now. They're having issues about the numbers that they're pulling from out of district schools, and quite honestly, I haven't had any straight answers. So I think I have to attend a couple more board meetings and start screaming again.
I know that you love attending board meetings.
I do. I really do, because it's our kids' education.
Yeah. Folks, I just want to remind you, I'm Marty Olson. This is City Focus that you're watching, and we're live. I have Mike Doyle in as a guest tonight. And if you'd like to participate in the program, please give us a call, and the numbers are on the screen. Locally, it's 860-440-3154, or you can call us if you're out of the calling area at 1-800-253-2285 and offer your thoughts, commentary, or questions on the topics at hand. Yesterday, the Mayor Finizio gave his budget report and state of the city, and it was almost as dire as last year.
Mm-hmm.
I brought in a copy off of New London Patch that was printed this morning, and I'm just amazed at what I see here. It almost seems to be the shredding of our city services.
Public safety, senior citizens, libraries, the
Recreation, youth.
I mean, there's not a part that hasn't touched every part of the city right now. We were just talking before camera, about what's fire station. Well, let's think about this. Technically, if they were to maybe not build the recreation department or the community center where they want to right now, because that would make a nice place for a fire station. But if we're going to talk about closing stations, where are we going to be putting equipment? What's happening to the staffing levels? Because is that going to be affected in the mayor's budget also? Yeah. Senior citizens.
Well, as was, if we recall, we take a step back and review a year ago. We had a situation where the big discussion and debate regarding the firefighters' pension.
Pension, right.
And how that would impact. And during the course of those negotiations, the mayor has, in essence, guaranteed that there'd be no layoffs.
Yep. And
in the fire department. Now, how is he going to pull that off with what I'm reading here?
Marty, it's very, because as I said,
similar negotiations with the police department.
Yeah, okay. Well, $1.4 million away from the police department now. Okay, well, I guess the new deputy chief is gone. That was the first thing he did with the last deputy chief we had. What's going to happen with the chief? Oh, now she's back to work. Just in the nick of time. Amazing. What are we going to do with public safety in protecting the streets of the city of New London? You're taking now cops off the street. What else are you doing, Mr. Mayor? I mean, come on. I mean, these are nut and bolt planks in the city of New London that we need you to be there. We're going to privatize our trash. Do you want the senior citizens? I mean, they're already on a warpath with you right now. I think privatizing the trash is a whole nother issue. Maybe our public works director can have some influence in this one, but I doubt it since he has no experience. But it's just these things are mom and pop issues. Do they really think the city of New London is going to keep this up? Someone's got to stop the buck. Now, it's either going to be the council or the mayor. So someone's got to step up to the plate.
One of the things I'm finding interesting was a year ago the mayor came in with at this time, with a proposed 20% increase in spending.
Taxes.
And needless to say, that was kind of a dead on arrival, but just the fact that he had the chutzpah
Yeah, you're right.
to bring that forward and leave it to the council to bring out the scalpels and try to bring it back to a more tolerable level for the overburdened taxpayer in the community. This budget's almost going diabolically opposite, although it still represents a pretty significant increase. There's an awful lot of cuts to services,
Yeah.
where now it'll be up to the council to deal with an irate public saying, well, I want my senior center, I want recreation, I want this and I want that, to puff up the budget to get a higher tax hike.
Right, right. You know, the other side, I mean, if you look at some of the cuts, he's talking about $150,000 for the library, minimum. How much is it going to cost to keep the Senior Citizen Center open? $75,000? Because all the programs that are utilized and ran out of there are already subsidized somewhere else, not from the City of New London.
They get a lot of block grant money in their budget.
Exactly. So how much is it actually going to cost in savings? It's not. Okay, maybe we're at $200,000 now.
Yeah. I think there's also a big push to close that whole facility, the Martin Center.
I understand that, but don't do it this way. Find a relative nice place for our seniors to move into temporarily, like the city of Groton did, and then make the decision on this.
But the facility that the seniors meet in is also used extensively,
By the
especially
community.
by the community in the evenings. It's a big meeting space, regularly, for a variety, for little leagues and you know, all sorts of Democratic Town Committee meets there, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course they do. Well, we used to meet there. That's very true. But I think, see, Marty, this is my whole perspective about this community. I would love to see a community center for us. Recreation center, because I think everything would move into that location. Senior citizens and every meeting under the world and everything else. But we do have fire departments around here. Broad Street has a meeting room upstairs on the second floor. The South Station has a little place out there if you really wanted to meet there. There's places people can meet in the city. Yeah. You know, what's wrong with the council chamber? What's wrong with the ante room? There's lots of places people, and I've been even thinking about bringing it up and having maybe a town committee meeting in the ante room.
I hope it could exceed the occupancy.
I would hope. But, you know, these are things that have to be answered. There are special places. And our school system's another one. We should be utilizing our school systems all the time. We should have programs in our schools 24/7.
Yeah. And I'd like to just mention, because this was noted in the article in Patch, the mayor's recommending a $500,000 cut to the New London Fire Department. And he said the fire department could find savings by leaving the deputy chief's position, which was just recently filled by Henry Kidd, who's now been appointed chief. And then closing one of the city's 3 fire stations. Now, the north and south end stations are both relatively new facilities. Mm-hmm. And the fire headquarters on Bank Street on the corner of Tilly is a much older facility, and perhaps at quick blush that may look like a quick fix, but it's also the home of all of the communications.
Right.
And the cost
Emergency or operations center and everything else.
The cost of relocating that and uprooting everything would be high.
I think it would dwarf the $1.4 million.
Yeah. We also have union contracts in regards to staffing, and I'm not sure how all this plays. And so even though to close the station...
Yeah. I would have always, my thought has been for our city is that if we did have located another public safety complex someplace in the city, that we take that building and make it into a museum for our fire department. Because we do have a great history with our New London Fire Department. There's been books written about our fire department, and I would really like to see that building converted over to some type of museum, since it's right there in downtown New London in our arts and community part, and I think it would be great.
That's a reasonable idea.
Right down the street from the Coast Guard Museum.
Yeah, I would like to just take a step back regarding the upcoming municipal elections. For the benefit of our viewers, the City Council and Board of Education are comprised of 7 folks for each board, and they're at-large elections, so each party nominates up to 7 candidates, and I wouldn't be surprised this year to see candidates coming from other parties or perhaps running independently. So we may be seeing a whole pile of candidates seeking
There's a lot of talk in the town.
office for council and or Board of Education. So I mean, it's interesting times, and then the top 7 vote getters win. It's that simple. I mean, if you're in 8th place,
And I was,
it's one of those
by 312 votes.
nice effort, but the bottom line is you came up
A dime short.
So it's relatively simple. But if you are, if you're content with your government, stay on the sidelines. Perhaps continue to vote for the people that are currently serving. If you feel that there's room for improvement, and perhaps you may want to seek other people to represent you at the City Council level and the school board. And currently, the City Council is represented by 6 Democrats and 1 Republican, the Republican Adam Spracacci, who's now serving his 3rd term. And Adam is a very conscientious, certainly very detail-oriented.
Good choice of words.
And works very, very hard on behalf of the community. And our school board currently has 2 Republicans and 5 Democrats. Barbara Majors serving is this her 2nd term or 3rd?
3rd term.
And Jason Catala, who served on the board a number of times and also served on the City Council.
Right.
So Jason's been a long time and dedicated public servant. And Barbara and her family have been active in the community at many, many different levels, basically forever, including her mom and the whole family.
That's right. If you don't have your VFW ticket for the pasta dinners, then you're out of luck,
So, I mean, it's a good opportunity, and for one who has served on and off over many years, to run for office is a tremendous learning experience in and of itself. Having the opportunity and privilege to serve is certainly, I think, worth the effort to attempt it, and if elected, to really have an opportunity to make an impact.
It really is. And then if you're a people person, if you like talking to people, you like getting out there. Both of us are very people persons, and it's just that's part of your daily business. Just getting out, talking to people, finding out. I mean, I sit there in Monica's for a good hour and 15 minutes daily, and listen to what is being said. And that's very important, because people need to know where they can find you, where they can talk to you, enlighten them on what the issues was. The mayor's budget thing was a big issue this morning. So I mean, it's there. If you believe in your community and you believe in that everything should be open and everyone should be able to talk to one another, then I encourage you to call me at my cell number, 860-908-3888. And let's talk and see if we can get you to run for public office or be appointed to a board agency.
Very good. Now, one of the things that I think is important to recognize, over the last 50 years, give or take a few, our community has been run primarily by the Democratic Party, often with very large majorities. And part of the responsibility of the Republican Party, not that we're not striving to achieve a majority and the leadership position, but is to be a loyal opposition and to question the majority and to hold their feet to the fire. And if we feel that they are perhaps moving astray, to let the people know at least what our opinions are, and to let the public know that this is just not a straight, narrow slam dunk here. And occasionally, you know, with one party, strong one party rule, and New London's had that, quite frankly.
We have.
We lose out as a community, and I think it's important to try to have a viable two-party system. That balance and that tension and that questioning is important for a healthy government.
It is. I mean, anytime you have an open dialogue, and that's something that I felt very strongly about last time, and if I put myself forward this time for this, I feel strongly again, is our finances. I believe in a strong Board of Finance, and I want to see a charter revision done so where we enact and legislate and elect 7 members to a Board of Finance every year. And this would eliminate all the stuff we got going on right now. Because each person, each department, mayor, city council, everyone's going to have to go to that Board of Finance. You want a line item transfer, you got to go to the Board of Finance, get it approved. So there's going to be more people manning the store than having one party dictate how everything is going to happen. Because right now, it's a muck. And we have people being hired in the city that had not qualified. You've got the evidence before you. And Marty, you've done a fantastic job doing this. And that's just one small aspect of this. You got a finance director over there that doesn't know what to deal with. He doesn't know how to deal with the council. You should, the finance director should anticipate what the council is going to ask for during their meeting. Oh, I don't have that information right now. That's bull.
Well, the unfortunate thing is when that occurs, because the council, unfortunately it occurs too often than I'd like to see right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that because the council only meets twice a month, if we don't have information tonight, it rolls over into another 2 weeks.
That's right.
And if there's ambiguity there, it rolls over another 2 weeks. And things get cold, they get tired.
Yes.
And other things surface to usurp that particular issue.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, it just muddies the waters. I would like to take this opportunity, because I think it's important as we're moving into this discussion. You know, the transition of our government from a city manager to a mayor form of government has been challenging. It's been a lot of tension. And I think if the separation of powers, as is outlined in the charter, was adhered to, a lot of this would not be going on. Mm-hmm. I really believe that. From my perspective, our mayor, basically since day one, has been doing his best to ignore, minimalize, and trivialize, marginalize, whatever eyes you want to put on the end of it, the city council, and quite frankly, he's getting away with it. Mm-hmm. And that's because the council as a whole has been very, very quiet on most issues. And I would like to point out, we've got a Democratic mayor, and you've got 6 Democratic councilors here, so they're all the same party. And I find that to be disappointing because there are areas where I think the mayor has been running a little bit, he's been overreaching to be charitable. And an area that I'd like to explore here deals in some of his appointments for administrative positions. And I think the charter very clearly states the roles. And again, we have a separation of powers, and the mayor's job is to administer the city, day-to-day operations. And the city council's job is to legislate, kind of like Congress
Right.
and the president. And so they've got very clear roles. And so let's just take a couple of things here. And I went over these last week, but I've got some new information I want to share with you, which I think helps to explain my point. Now, again, this is the city charter, and this is some information I pulled off the city website, so you can look at it as we're speaking, if you'd like.
Yeah, right.
City of New London and City Charter. This is Article 6, Section 40. Administration of city affairs by mayor and merit system. Key word there is merit system. The mayor shall be responsible for the proper administration of the affairs of the city. That's what we voted for. And to that end shall make appointments in the administrative service of the city. Voted for that too. Except as otherwise provided in this act, and except in such cases as the mayor may authorize the head of a department or office to appoint subordinates in such department or office. So subordinates, for instance, in the police department or fire department, public works, etc., that the director would make those appointments. Said appointments and promotions, the administrative service of the city shall be made in accordance with procedures prescribed by the city's personnel board, established by ordinance, on the basis of merit, and shall include, but not be limited by, considerations of education, training, competitive examination, experience, and the recommendation of the immediate supervisor, and shall give some weight to seniority or tenure with the city, and shall be made without regard to disability, sexual orientation, race, color, religion, marital status, natural origin, citizenship, sex, age, or political affiliation. Now that's pretty clear. And here's the Personnel Board ordinance. And this states as such, quote, the Personnel Board is responsible for the establishment for the City of New London a merit system of personnel administration that will assure optimum utilization of the human resources employed in the classified service of the City of New London to effectuate the social, economic, and other program needs of the people of New London, as these needs now or in the future may be established. This system shall provide means to recruit, select, develop, and maintain an effective, responsive workforce, and shall include policies and procedures for employees' appointment and promotion. Now, I want to point out that there are numerous appointments that have been made by the mayor that bypass this and have since day one. Public Works, his office staff, office development director, not once, but twice. This is wrong. And what disturbs me, first, that it's been done. But secondly, the city council has been quiet on this. They've been moot. They go along with it. They think this is okay.
That's not okay.
And I think this is inherently wrong. And here's an area where I think that the Republican Party has an opportunity to challenge based on law what's going on here.
I agree. These people should be the first ones that go. Besides if any other person is laid off in this city, you have a potential lawsuit because they're not even qualified for these jobs. They should be gone.
And for those who argue, I think wrongly, that the council is limited to purely financial matters, I think that's wrong. Now, Article 6, Section 43, establishment of departments. There shall be a department of law, a department of finance, and such other department and offices as may be established by ordinance. The council may discontinue any department or office established by ordinance and may determine, combine, distribute, or abolish the functions and duties of departments and offices so established. Emphasis that this is the council's responsibility. This is the charter. This is not Marty making it up as he's going along here. As opposed to the mayor.
That's right. Wing it.
No function or duty assigned by this charter to the Department of Law or the Department of Finance shall be abolished or assigned to any other department or office. No administrative department or office shall be established or discontinued until the recommendation of the mayor thereon shall have been heard by the council. Heard by the council, which means the council gets it first.
Mm-hmm.
First, not second. Not if the mayor decides to share it with him.
Yeah.
And again, this is a case of where the city council needs to stand up and be counted. And I think they've been rather quiet on these types of issues. You know, this charter change was not designed to give the mayor unlimited power.
No, it wasn't. And I served on 2 of them. 2 of the 3 important ones.
Not remotely close to being unlimited or absolute power here. However, the council is going to be silent.
That's
He's running with what the council's giving him.
Yeah.
And in that regard,
right.
I blame the council for allowing it to happen.
Well, it's his own team, you know.
Now, I would like to share with you, I didn't have this information last week, but I think it's important. I also like to let you know that I've got this information from personnel. I had to submit a written request, and I had to pay 50 cents a page for this stuff to get it in the 7 pages.
Under freedom of information, which is beyond me. That is supposed to be
public information.
You don't have.
But I wasn't going to argue with the
Yeah,
ladies in the office.
I understand.
So I paid my $3.50, but I was just shocked. Title: Director of Development and Planning. Now this, we've got a job description and requirements. The most recent adoption of this is August of 1998, so it's been around for a while. Minimum requirements or qualifications, and again the emphasis on the word minimum, not maximum, minimum. Graduation from an accredited college or university with a master's degree in urban planning, economics, public administration, or closely related field, plus, not or, but plus, 6 to 7 years of progressively responsible development planning experience, including 2 to 3 years of supervisory experience or equivalent. And I would question whether the mayor's most recent appointment to this position meets this criteria. It certainly did not go through a merit review.
You're right.
It was not posted. They did not seek applicants. So by definition, the process is wrong.
It was a closed process.
So I don't fault the candidate.
No.
I do fault the process. And the guy implementing the process
is the
mayor, and the council for allowing it to happen and not even having the nerve to say, Your Honor, we think you've overstepped your bounds here. Stop it.
Yeah, because this ain't the first time.
No. You know, I mentioned at the top, we had a situation early in the term. Public Works, let's try that one.
Reach into that bowl and pull it out.
This was revised in July of '08, so it's a little bit more recent. Minimum qualifications, again, the definitive word of minimum. Master's degree in public administration, business administration, or a closely related field, plus 8 years of responsible management experience, including administration, construction, maintenance, supervision, or an equivalent combination of experience and training which provides the required knowledge, skills, and abilities. And again, this was an appointment without the benefit of posting, soliciting candidates, perhaps seeking out qualified minority candidates who've been shut out.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother issue for the city, but bring up the other part.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Twist your arm.
I'm on a roll here. Mike's my guest, but
this is better. Better than me.
I think I may have shared this last week, but I think needs repeating, and perhaps will need repeating
several times
continually between now and November. As a reminder, this is Sunday, February 17th. It's the classified section of the day paper, Careers. There's an advertisement here, and it reads as such. Oversees and performs professional engineering services of town projects. Assists the director in all phases of his or her duties. Requirements: a Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering or construction management, 5 years experience in highway design and inspection, civil engineer in training, or ability to obtain within 3 years of hire. This advertisement was for our neighbor, the town of Waterford, for an assistant director of public works. Our guy doesn't qualify to be the assistant director of public works in Waterford. And this was not an open situation here. This was a direct appointment by the mayor without seeking out qualified candidates.
And we wonder why we can't get projects completed in the city.
How are we going to appeal as a community? Who's going to want to come to New London to work if it's a closed shop? All the appointments are political.
Yeah.
We're not getting the best and the brightest.
No, we're not. We don't care about that issue.
And people were expecting, with this transition and change in government, transparency, openness.
Well, let me just say this. That was the intent behind the thought process when when this charter and the other previous two was recommended. That was the thought process. It was not, and it was not even considered that all these would be political appointments. Left that completely up. We never anticipated some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And right now, in hindsight, perhaps we should have spent more time doing this.
But you know, I think that, you know, as we review the charter as it's currently written, the check and balance is actually in place.
It's just not being adhered to.
It's not being adhered to at all. It's being ignored by both the administration and, unfortunately, the council as well.
And actually, you have to look at the law director also, because he's advising the mayor.
Yeah. Well,
And if the law director is going to interpret that right there as being the mayor can do whatever he wants, we have issues.
yeah. And I brought this up last week, and I think that this is important too. You know, when you make change, we also will have unintended consequences.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And one of the I'm seeing as an unintended consequence of this change, one of many, is with the director of law, who's appointed by the mayor. He works for the mayor, and over the course of this initial year and a half, key rulings or opinions of the law director have amazingly mirrored those
Of the mayor.
Of the mayor. That's his boss. And the city council's like,
Right.
and I would argue that it may be behoove the council to retain their own legal counsel.
You're right in in that aspect, Marty. However, the law director is supposed to be a neutral party. That person is supposed to be able to advise, and this is the when we did that.
Well, that's the theory.
That's the theory, exactly. We never anticipated the mayor having sole authority over the law director. It's supposed to be on the basis of law. So he is supposed to be able, as a citizen, I should be able to go and ask him a question about our town, about our charter, and get a ruling from him, if I have one. Same thing with the council. They're supposed to be able to seek the advice of our council. That's the council for the city. It doesn't say mayor's office, law director. It says law director for the city of New London. That's where this whole thing is stemming from. I'm not sure where, or if it was the mayor or somebody else gave this theory to Jeff. I wish he would rethink this and really look at this stuff, but it's not going to happen.
Well, from my perspective is that based on actions versus theory,
it's already been proven
that the council needs somebody who's looking out for them.
Man up.
And I don't necessarily see that happening.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. You're absolutely
with the current system that's in place, that the law director is working for his client is the mayor's office. That's his boss.
Right.
The mayor's office is the one that can remove him. Council can't remove him.
Right.
You know, kind of like the advice and consent of the Senate. They get a cabinet secretary, and once they're appointed, they're in. I mean,
But if you read that paragraph that you read previously, it doesn't mention the law director.
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, it did receive, that the council cannot change them?
No.
Okay, all right. That was part of the last charter revision then, because that wasn't in there with us.
Matter of fact, Section 44 of the charter, and I think this is important for clarity, Director of Law shall be appointed by the mayor
Okay.
with council approval, without definite term, and may be removed at the pleasure thereof, since the appointment's by the mayor thereof.
Yep, okay, all right. Proved your point, brother.
Thank you. I do try to be prepared.
Can't be,
Folks, we're in our final minute here on City Focus, and I hope you've enjoyed our program. I've enjoyed having Mike on. We always have a spirited discussion of the issues of the day, and I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Marty, thank you, thank you.
And as we move forward and we get into the summer months and parties nominate candidates and we get into the fall campaign season, this is an important time for our community as far as whether or not you think that the direction of the current leadership is getting it done or not. And it looks like we're fading out. We'll say good night and see you next week.